what are stubs and drivers? So another very important question, and in the real scenario, in your practical testing, in the project, you will definitely be going ahead and using stubs and drivers, because all of the product functionality doesn't become available on day one, right? So the software development is an incremental process, so not everything can be available at day one for you to test, right? And especially in Agile and Scrum, so you have to understand what stubs and drivers are. So stubs and drivers are nothing but the dummy code, okay? So it's a throwaway code, dummy code, which is used to replace missing code or component during testing. Now, because say for example, you have a module A and module B. Module A is ready, you can test it, right? But that module A depends on module B. Now module B is not ready yet. So will you go ahead and wait for module B to be ready to start testing? That's not the ideal approach. If module A is ready, it's always good to go ahead and get the testing started, so that if there are any issues in module A, they can be basically uncovered early. So that's where stubs and drivers help you a lot. And stub, so if say for example module B is not ready, it can be stub, it can be a stub or can be a driver, depending on whether it's called or it's calling, okay? So stub is called from the software component. So for example, module A, okay, is calling module B, right? So when module B dummy code is written, because it's called from module A, that is stub, okay? So module B code is stub. Now module B code is ready, right? But module A is not ready. So module A will be a code will be written, dummy code will be written for module A, and that will call module B, and that module A code is a driver, right? So stub and driver are both dummy code, but the significance depends whether the module is called or calling. If it is calling, it is a driver, right? So a driver calls a component to be tested, and stub is called from the software component. In a real scenario, when I say for example, I have the UI component, UI which is ready, okay? So UI page is ready, wherein registration page is ready, or the login page is ready, okay? But actual login functionality, the business logic is not ready. So on the UI, when I go ahead and click on, say for example, register button, so it will open a page to do the registration functionality. I'll provide my name, my date of birth, other address details, and click on register. So ideally that whole data that I have filled in that particular form should then call the registration module, right? But registration module is not ready yet. So what can we do to test just this UI that is ready, the error messages on the UI? What can you do? You can basically you can write a dummy code which acts as a registration module and just sends dummy responses. Nothing, no business logic, right? So just throwaway code, just sends. If somebody clicks on register on the UI, it will just send the response back that registration successful. So you can verify or validate that the registration successful message appears properly on the UI, okay? So now what this component, the registration component that has been stubbed, what is this called? It is a stub, okay? The dummy code is stub because it is basically called from the software component, which is the registration functionality, right? Now same scenario, UI is not ready, but registration module is ready, okay? The module is ready. How you are going to test it, right? So in that particular case, you are going to basically go ahead and write a dummy code, which is basically a driver, and this is done by the stubs and driver development is done by the developers, not the testers, okay? So you will be getting help from the developers, and they will be writing the dummy code for it, okay? Because mostly they would have done it already for the unit testing, so they'll just pass it on to you guys. Now the UI is not ready, so a driver is written which you will use to call the module that is ready, which is registration module, and you will pass on all the attributes through that driver and ensure that the response registration successful is actually received from that particular module that is ready, okay? So this particular component, when UI is not ready and you are writing a dummy code to simulate that is basically a drive, okay? Because it's calling the module that is ready, and the ready module is registration module, okay? So this is the real example of stub and driver, or stubs and driver, that you can use in your, okay?